Did you miss us? I missed you, Logan.
Hello. I missed you, Craig.
We are back. It's been a crazy holiday season for both of us. So figured it was time to get on here. We're finally both free on a game day and here to recap it.
And it's also not 12:30 at night.
Yes, we were
That's
available
the other
Thursday.
thing.
Yes,
We were free.
Yes, needed to go to bed is what happened Thursday.
Correct.
But yeah, luckily Illinois squeaked this one out, and we didn't have to talk about a loss on our first one back. But good to see you, Logan. First of all, get on with the particulars. Thank you for tuning in. Share, like, subscribe, all of that stuff. I know we've been, like I just said, we've kind of missed the last couple, but now we are past the holidays. This is kind of when we get into the swing of things. Hopefully that continues. I do have a baby that might impact some of these, but hopefully we can continue to do these through the rest of the season on a more regular basis. So like, subscribe on YouTube, hit that bell so you know when we do go live for these post-game shows. Logan, I believe we did one show after your wedding, so we've already talked about the wedding.
Correct.
How was your holiday?
It was good. It was very quick. Boom, boom, boom. A lot of Christmases in the span of a few days. And
okay, Xenon girl, the 21st century.
Yeah, zoom, zoom, zoom. Make my heart go boom, boom, boom. It was fine. It was good. Got to go home and see a bunch of people and see family and stuff. Half the room seemed to be, not half the room. A few people were sick, and then that's just the life of it. And I don't know. I picked up something either there or elsewhere, so I've been kind of battling something for the last week or so too. So, it was good. It was good. How was yours?
It was good. My pretty much whole mom's side of the family came here to Louisville, so we had 4 people from Southern Illinois, and then we had 6 people from North Carolina come and kind of meet in the middle here. So we hosted Christmas for the first time. So it was crazy, a lot of people, but it was good. Good food. They were here for like 5 days. Got to see some stuff in the city and do some stuff. So it was good.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Luckily we didn't host much here at the house because there's an Airbnb like 2 streets down that's a 4-bedroom. So that's what they got.
Gotcha.
And that's where we ended up eating because they cooked it all. So we just went over there and ate. But there was visiting, and, games were played here, and a couple of people did sleep here. So we were kind of back and forth, but it was good. They were only a couple streets over. So
that's awesome.
Baby's first Christmas. He has no idea what he got, but he's enjoying some of the toys. That's for sure. But it was good. That's good. We've got a lot to talk about. I don't think we want to talk about too much in the past, but we will recap the last couple games because there were some big ones in there that we missed. But we'll start with tonight. Illinois does survive, I would say, a close game in Seattle, 81-77 over Washington. It got tied, didn't it?
Yeah, it was tied briefly. And then,
was it 77 or 75?
So. That
maybe?
Sounds right. Yeah, right there at the very end.
75.
Yeah.
It was tied at 75 with 47 seconds left, and Illinois makes their free throws, 2 by Kylan, 2 by Kasparas to win. And there was must have been one other bucket in there. KJ hit a bucket in there as well. So great first half. I thought things looked really good in the first half, and in the second half, I'm not sure what happened, to be completely honest. I had the game on, but we were doing some other stuff. And next thing I know, it's a 6-point game. I'm like, okay. Then it's a 2-point game. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Yep.
I know they had the one dude just going off hitting 3 after 3. And we weren't hitting threes, so that's
what it was.
That's the difference. He was hitting threes, and Illinois wasn't. So, did you ever get nervous at any point? Obviously, it was tied.
I was kind of in the same boat as you were. I mean, I was zoned in for the first half, and then the second half, I had moved to a different part of the house, and Allison was doing stuff, and I was talking to her, so I wasn't like fully invested. And similar to you, I just kind of looked up again. I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah, towards the very end there, I was definitely getting a little concerned. I finally got off the couch at one point and had to move. I mean, when you're up 17 points in the first half, without one of your best players playing the entirety of the first half, essentially.
Yeah.
You feel good. Like what's going to go wrong here? And then just inch by inch, DJ Davis
Yeah.
had a career day, and Washington just continued to claw into that lead, and all of a sudden it was down to nothing. So yeah, I mean, I was definitely a little nervous and worried there down the stretch, just because this is still a very young team and a very inexperienced team, and we've seen them do some incredible things. What happened against Oregon on Thursday night was absolutely incredible. That's something you probably won't see from this team ever again.
Yeah.
But like, we haven't really seen them have to do a lot of this stuff in crunch time. Who's going to make the shots? Are they going to make the free throws when they count? That type of stuff. So it worked out in the end, and that's all we can ask for. You just got to, take the lesson and move on with it.
Yeah, it's the kind of game. I mean, this is more of a typical Big Ten road game, obviously, than what Thursday night was. So
Right.
this is kind of what we should expect every road game from here on out. Thursday was obviously an anomaly. But the way the first half went, I did not expect to be, pacing in my kitchen watching the last 2 minutes of this game. So definitely some things to correct going forward. Mainly on the defensive end, I think offensively, I thought everything looked pretty good. Just we were
Yeah.
5 of 26 from three. We just
The shots
couldn't
weren't
make a
going
three.
down.
Yeah, but I thought the shots, and I think they adjusted in the second half, where they threw the stat up that like 20 at one point 23 straight points for Illinois came from the paint or a free throw. So we didn't stop shooting threes, but definitely made some adjustments. Got KJ into the paint off the pick and rolls as opposed to some pick and pops and stuff like that. KJ did lead in scoring, 18 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds for him. Tre White, another good game from Tre, 17 and 7 for him. Kylan had 14 and 4 rebounds. And then pretty much everyone that played contributed in some way. Jake Davis cooled off from Thursday night. He didn't score, had 2 boards, but Hummerkaus had 7. Ivisic had 9. DGL had 8. Will Riley and Merez each had 4 points. Killed them on the boards, 43 to 30 rebounding, which has become typical of this team. We clean the glass every night, and that is a huge key to the run that we've gone on. Like I said, 5 of 26 from 3. Am I missing any stats here that pop out to you? I don't think so.
No, I mean, I think you hit all the important things.
For them, DJ Davis, who we already mentioned, he went off for 31 points. He was 7 of 14 from 3. I pulled up his ESPN while you were talking. Coming into tonight, he was shooting less than 30% from 3 on the season, averaging 7.4 points per game. And that's the guy that goes off for. But, I mean, if you look at his stats, he's a shooter. He shot 219 threes 2 years ago at UC Irvine. He shot 191 last year at Butler. So, that's how he scores. So, I'm sure that's something that Brad will address. And Michael, as always, was listening to Coach and putting in the chat that Brad was mad that we let Davis go off. So, obviously, something they're going to address in the coming days.
I have to think that this outcome is I don't want to say like a dream scenario, but it's like a really good outcome for a head coach.
Yeah.
Because they can go into practice tomorrow and be pissed off and use this as a teaching moment for how to correct these things. But at the end of the day, they still got the win. So you have that in your back pocket. It is a win, and at the end of the season, that's a big road win in the Big Ten. But he can still use this as an absolute teaching moment when they get back to practice this week. To
totally.
This is the thing. These are the things you need to work on, because you can't let that happen anymore. And yes, it was one guy who really did it, and I think most of the time you'll be okay with that. Great Osipor scored 9 points. That's their.
That was my
$7 million man. I mean,
he looked awful.
Yeah, he looked awful. So you know what? At the end of the day, I think Brad will take this. I think this is obviously it's a win first and foremost, but I think it's a good teaching experience. And you know that, yeah, the one guy that dropped 30 points on you is, that particular player who I don't think is ever going to do that, anything close to that ever again. So
Yeah.
you take it and you move on.
Jay in the chat brought up something that I probably would have forgotten, but I'm glad he brought up.
Yep.
Tommy shoots a 3 with 1:15 left. Why? Even if it was in and out, why? You're up 4, and the 3 ball obviously is not going. Drive to the basket, at least get a foul. You're in the bonus. Yep. And then his next comment, and this team continues to be terrible at inbounds plays. That was
Correct.
a moment as well. Let's talk about this first. And I wish I would have remembered what was on the shot clock. Do you remember? I mean,
No,
it wasn't like,
I don't remember that.
it wasn't a buzzer beater.
No.
Like, he didn't have to get it up, but
there
I think
was still
it was
time.
pretty late.
There was still time.
Yeah, but he did it twice with under 2 minutes, I think. He shot 2 late threes that were very unnecessary. I don't want to say he's getting 3 happy, because he shot 4 tonight, which I'm okay with. But he's the one that it's got to be the right moment for him.
Right.
And late in the game, Thomas Slavovicic shooting a 3 is not something I think most people would be comfortable with.
Correct. No, in that situation, I think he won the ball in the hands of a few other players driving to the hoop, as Jay mentioned, getting a foul, drawing a foul, that type of situation. I don't. I'm fine with Tommy taking threes throughout the game. Like, that's fine. I know he's, I think he's going to continue to prove that that's worth it for him. But yeah, in that moment, no, I don't want that. That's not the shot you need to be taking. And I don't exactly know why that was the shot that was taken. But
yeah, I'm trying to 1:15 left. Yeah, 1:15. He missed one, and he missed one at 1:40. So within a span of 30 seconds, he missed 2 threes that were probably not necessary. Nothing else really stuck out tonight. I didn't have any like talking points. Is there anything else that?
I mean, it was a good road.
Michael, we touched on Jay's comment about the inbounds play, and Michael said on radio, he's not used to the college and where you can go in the backcourt.
Oh, that makes sense.
Did Brian and Dion say that, or was that Brad? If you can put in the chat, that would make sense. But I mean, he's been here for
but still
3 months.
It is, but like it's not a credible excuse you can use for the remainder of the season. But like, I can understand why that would take some time to adjust, especially in late game situations. Important situations. Like, he's still a freshman. Like, he does have a lot of experience playing at high levels of basketball overseas, but like, he's still 18, 19 years old. So, that would make a lot of sense. I hadn't actually thought about that. I buy that as something that could be going through his head.
That was from Brian and Dion.
But it is aggravating, because this is not the first time this has been an issue. It was the Tennessee game, right, where there was 2 consecutive that one plays that cost them.
I believe the one I'm thinking of, KJ inbounded to Tomislav, and it was just kind of a lazy pass that got knocked into the backcourt. It's the one that really cost him. But that is one rule that maybe my number one rule that I would change in college basketball is, once you're past half court, I don't think you should be able to throw it on the inbounds back. I do not like that rule. So,
it's a good point. No, I was going to say, I was just going to bring up, this has been a good road trip for several guys, but Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn, who has been a Eastern Illinois killer, and a mid-major killer, a Dane Danges style, can come off the bench and get you a spark, but not much else. This has been a good road trip for Dre. Had a really nice game, especially in the first half against Oregon, and then another 8 points today, largely in the first half again. When you have, Kylan in foul trouble for pretty much the entirety of the first half, and KJ most the entirety of the first half on Thursday, like, that's a nice option that you can have come off the bench and know that he's going to give you some stuff, not only offensively, but defensively. So I thought it was a really good, only 8 points today for him, but I thought it was a really good road trip for Dre Gibbs Lawhorn. That's just really good to see.
Yeah.
Because you just, as I said, like he's done really well in certain games against lower tier opponents, but in these big time games against, Big Ten teams, especially against what has been a top 10 team in the country, it's been good to see him.
Yeah, he had 16 against Chicago State, and then 11
Right.
against Oregon, and 8 tonight. He's playing about 20 minutes the last 3 games, so which is more than he had played all season. So he's coming into a role, and I think he is obviously the only person back from last year that is playing right now. And I think he has bought into his role this year more than anybody else. Like in today's day and age, in that situation, if you're the only guy coming back from an Elite Eight team, you would expect to be a starter playing 35 minutes a game. And I think he just realizes, I would rather play hard for 20 minutes and be on a winning team than, maybe the star on a losing team. I think he's really bought in. I love his attitude. He's been I feel like in the moments where you need something, he's been the one providing it, whether it's a defensive spark, like you said, or whether it's a bucket. I believe late in the game, he had a nice drive when they were on a run that slowed down one of their runs, got right to the rim, got up. And those blocks, man, I thought that block in the first half might have been clean. I see why they called the foul. And then his dunk Thursday, was it Thursday? Yeah. His dunk at Oregon Thursday was, or what? I don't know. He had a dunk recently that was insane. I'm really pleased with him. And Michael's asking about the glue guy or our everyday guy. It's between him or Tre White. So we can transition to Tre White. Well. He has far exceeded my expectations. I'm pretty sure on this podcast I mentioned when Tre White committed, I was like, I don't get it. He's coming from Louisville. I watch a lot of Louisville basketball, even through the Kenny Payne travesty. I don't see it. My caveat was maybe if you put him around better pieces that he would be better. Obviously that's the case, but this is a different Tre White than I saw in the 20 Louisville games I watched last year. This guy is attacking the rim. He's rebounding. He's not making mistakes. And I actually have a lot of trust in Tre White with the ball in his hands right now, which I did not expect to have. Going into this season.
That's kind of how he was advertised, was a Ty Rodgers with an offensive game. And for the first couple months of the season, we didn't really see it. Now, granted, we kind of ran into that same lull that we kind of get oftentimes with transfers, that it just takes a while. Marcus Damask didn't click right away. And some of these other guys that, you've brought in don't always click right away. So like it takes some time. But yeah, he has absolutely turned a corner. He's a guy you can rely on. We're talking about what to do at the end of the game, or with Tommy taking those shots. Like, I would much rather the ball be in Tre's hands and let him drive to the hoop, or, obviously also KJ or Kylan, that type of thing too. But yeah, he's been a huge, he's taken a huge turn these last couple weeks, 3 weeks or so. It's been really nice to have, because he's absolutely the glue guy type of person you want on this team. I mean, for a while, he was the biggest addition on this roster, and that wasn't ever going to be, if you were relying on Tre White to be your guy, this team was not going anywhere.
Right.
But the fact that he's essentially your third or fourth option on a good night, I'll take that. I'll take that any day, because he brings a lot of the same stuff Ty does that you want out of Ty Rodgers, but he has an offensive skill set too that Ty never had.
Yeah, he was one of the first commits in the portal before Boswell, before...
It was Jake Davis and then him, I think.
And then him, yeah. So he was before the 2 internationals. He was before Will Riley. He was before Boswell. So if those guys hadn't come, we'd be in trouble, obviously, but he did.
Yep.
And then the last one, have your thoughts on Hummerkaus changed at all? I feel like he's playing better, but he's
Yeah,
still not giving you what
he's
you hoped for.
he's playing better. Obviously, he had a great game, like a lot of people did on Thursday against
Yeah.
Oregon. And tonight wasn't terrible either. 7 points, 6 rebounds. We went
Yeah.
several games where Ben Hummerkaus didn't get a single rebound. There was a point very late in the game where he had a nice defensive stand. Stop the basket, stop the bucket, and got the rebound. Like, I just need that.
Yeah.
He's a good shooter. He's not obviously not lights out. He was 1 for 5 today from 3. So the 3 ball, I think at some point will come. At this point though, I trust him out there more than I do freshman Will Riley.
Yes.
I think that's where it comes down to it. Now they're both kind of 4s to an extent. I think Will's a little bit more of a wing, but like when it comes to the playing time, obviously Will Riley is the more talented player and he has the NBA pedigree and all these things. But at this point, I'm going to take the 50-year player over somebody like Will Riley, who just hasn't really shown me yet that he can really do it at this level. Ben's not going to he's not going to lead you in scoring most nights, but he's an option out there. And if the threes aren't falling and he's not playing defense or getting rebounds, then he's useless. But if a little bit of all those things are happening, I'm fine with him out there. And I think that stuff has improved over the course of the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I don't think he is near what Damask was.
No. And I don't think he was ever supposed to be
in booty ball aspects, but I'd like to see more of that. If he gets someone, how tall is he? 6'10"? He's 6'9". If he gets someone 6'6", 6'5", or smaller, I want him in the post. Just shoot a turnaround, fade away.
I just don't know, shoot over. How often does he get somebody like that? He's usually the second tallest guy on the court. That's the difference, though. Damask was essentially playing the point guard position. Yeah. So he was oftentimes going to have somebody smaller than him on him. That's not the case necessarily with Ben Hummerkaus. He is most of the time, he is the second biggest guy on the court for Illinois. So I don't know how often he's going to be put in those situations. I'm not paying attention every single time to see, is it the best matchup for that? And I know defenses have gone matchup hunting on him. And we'll see how that continues to affect things throughout the course of the rest of the season. But for right now, just based on the last 2 games, it's a lot better than what I had been seeing for several games. So I'm a little, I was never like totally out on Ben Hummerkaus, but I'm definitely a little more in than I was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he's doing a lot more good things than he was a couple games ago.
Also, he apparently has his pilot's license because he absolutely flew in the game on Thursday night. So didn't know, wasn't that familiar with that part of his game. So
you got married, you didn't have a kid. You're not dad joke level yet. Come on now.
Sorry.
I thought he legit had his pilot's license. I was like, how did I miss this? I don't know. What the hell? One thing I just noticed when we were talking about, I forgot what made me look into it. Second half, Brad's rotations really shortened up. It was legit 5 guys. Yeah. Hummerkaus, Boswell, Avicic, White, and Jakucionis each had 15 plus minutes. DGL had 7, Merez had 5, and then Riley and Davis had 2 and 3. Like, he was 5 guys, and that's who he was going to throw out there. I love Merez Johnson. I want him to get more minutes. I don't know why he only played 9 tonight. He is just the epitome of doing the right thing. Earlier tonight, or early in the game, he got a rebound, through the outlet, started jogging down the floor, saw that the guy that was guarding him was also jogging, went into a full-on sprint. KJ found a wide open layup. Like, those are the plays that I feel like you don't see much anymore. Like, that's an old school play. Like, yeah, I don't know. I love him.
I do too. I would like to see him out there more. I will just say though, I think I kind of understand why he's not playing as much as maybe we would like for him to. I don't think you can't give him a ton of Tommy's minutes. And you can play them together, but I think Brad's trying to avoid that. I saw him make a comment about, not wanting to get yourself in a foul situation if they're both out there at the same time. because that is your post game right there, is the two of them. So yeah, I would like to see him play more as well. I don't really know where those minutes are going to come from for right now.
True.
But yeah, the rotation is definitely trimming very quickly as we speak, as we figured it probably would. I mean, Brad has a tendency to not really go much more than 8 deep. But even as you mentioned tonight, the second half rotation really didn't go much more than 6 deep. So,
and then quickly, Kerry Booth has just disappeared.
yeah, he's gone.
He's this. I don't. I mean, I think I understand it. I don't think he's very good.
I haven't seen it. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you.
And I hope someone talked to him about it. With as much social media that gets posted after games and stuff, like if you looked after the Oregon game, he didn't look excited at all at anything. I don't know if that's his personality or what, but like he looks checked out. And I hope someone said something like, dude, come on.
I think somewhere along the way, the words Coleman Hawkins path came up to him. And I think he took that literally and probably expected more. And obviously they continued to add more and more players after that. So I can't really say much because I haven't really seen him play. But clearly the coaching staff knows what they have there, and it's probably not it. So the rotation is what it is at this point.
Right. Jake Davis stole all his minutes, and I'm okay with it. Okay, that's the Washington game. Let's quickly talk about some of these others. I know they're in the past, but they were pretty big and important wins. Oregon on Thursday. Like Logan said, we were both available. We could have done a post-game show, but when the game tips off at 10 Eastern, it's not going to happen. I'm just going to tell you that. We're not going to do a post-game show that starts at 12:30 in the morning. 109-77. This was an Oregon team ranked top 20 in KenPom defense, maybe top 10.
Yeah.
And Illinois went in there and shot like 60% from the field, hit 16 threes. Did you see that coming? Because I sure didn't.
No. I kind of figured you had this West Coast trip, this be kind of a lull, honestly. No, that was an unbelievable experience that we saw from Illinois. It's the most.
It's the biggest margin of victory on the road for a top 10 AP team.
Against the top 10 AP team. Yeah. Incredible what they did. Wish they would have saved a few of those threes for tonight. Would have made today's game be a little easier to handle. But yeah, no, they were lights out. And that was without KJ in the first half. Jake Davis and Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn were stars in the first half of that game. And then you get KJ back, and he really takes over the second half. And yeah, Oregon's a good team. I still think Oregon's a top third Big Ten team. But that particular night, they did not look like it. And Illinois looked like a national title contender. Now, I don't think Illinois is a national title contender, but if they play like that, there is nobody in the country that will beat them. So I don't think that's going to happen more than
Illinois went from 8 down to 11 on KenPom after today.
Okay.
So they dropped a couple spots on KenPom.
Yeah, they just went absolutely nuclear on Thursday. You're just not going to see that regularly, especially on the road at the Big Ten. So that's a really good Oregon team. So you just got to be absolutely thrilled going out there to the Northwest and taking 2 wins this week.
And
that's huge.
The chat brought up some good points that I had thought of, but I hadn't posted or verbalized yet. Bootzilla said, thankfully our West Coast trip is over. And Michael said, glad it was early too, which is a good point. You're getting this West Coast trip done the first week of 2025. You don't have to go back. I mean, do we play? Yeah, we play at Nebraska, but that's the same time. You don't have to cross time zones. I guess West Coast time zone because you will go to the East Coast. But West Coast trip done early. You go 2-0. You can't really ask for much better schedule wise for this season so far. And then the last one I wanted to talk about, maybe the most important of them all, Braggin Rights. was a battle.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised. I'm surprised, and I'm also not surprised because Missouri is better this year than they were last year. Illinois doesn't always get up for the Braggin Rights game for whatever reason. I don't know why, but this one was fun throughout. Illinois' biggest lead, I think, was like 8 or 9, maybe 10 early in the second half. This used to be appointment TV, for growing up, like have friends over or go to someone's house and watch this game. It feels like it might be getting back to that, and I don't know if it's just because Illinois is good. Does it has the same vibe for you still?
This year was a little more weird, just because it was on a Sunday early in the, or was it Saturday,
Sunday.
whatever it was, Sunday early
Sunday
in the
noon.
day. Again, it just kind of depends. Like I was already in the middle of all of my Christmas stuff, so like it was appointment viewing for me, obviously, but I don't know. There was just something weird about it, that I still don't think it's. I don't think it's back to like where it was. I don't think the networks think of it that way.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the fan base thinks of it that way. The players don't even know what it is. I'm happy for Kylan Boswell. He actually knew what it was, and he had a hell of a game. So good for him. I would love to see that game, kind of get back to what it was, but I'm not sure for me personally that it's there.
Right.
But I mean, that was a great game. If nothing else,
maybe I got juice added to it because, like I said, my family was here already at that point.
Sure.
So we were all sitting in this room watching. My uncle's a big Illini fan. I don't watch many games with my dad. My dad was here watching, so that might have added something to it. And it was tied with 45 seconds left, so it was a good game.
My biggest takeaway from that game was that Illinois was 22 for 22 from the free throw line until they needed to make one up down the stretch, and Kylan Boswell missed a free throw. He was 11 for 11.
Yeah.
And then he missed.
I forgot about that.
That was my biggest takeaway from that game.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's it for the schedule. We got John in here asking, what is the ceiling for Illinois, Elite Eight or Final Four?
I mean, it's all matchup dependent. Like that's just what the tournament is. I mean, I think the ceiling, the absolute ceiling for this team, if they play like they did on Thursday night, it's national championship.
Yeah.
But I think realistically, I think this team is good enough to make the second weekend. I think they are. If they shoot the ball like they did tonight, though, they're not getting out of the first round or maybe the second round. So it just kind of depends on which team shows up. Luckily, it is still January. There's still plenty of time to figure some things out. KJ is inarguably at this point one of the best guards in the entire country, and you have some really good players around him that can help. So I think that the absolute ceiling for this team is Final Four, but I think the realistic ceiling for this team is a second weekend. I think a Sweet 16 or possibly an Elite Eight appearance is really where this team could be at. But again, it's all just depends on the matchups and ultimately which team shows up, because they still haven't been the most consistent basketball team yet. And that's going to happen when you have a team that's this young and this inexperienced.
Yeah. I think as it stands now, missing the second weekend, a first weekend exit would be a disappointment for me.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think we've said it from the preseason. The talent on this team is just as good as last year. Maybe overall better talent-wise.
I think overall it's better. Now they don't have a Terrence Shannon. KJ is a fantastic player, a different type of player, a lottery type of player, but he's not a first-team All-American player. He's a different type of talent. So, yeah, I think overall this team has more talent than last year's team. But last year's team was a little more top-heavy than I think this year's team is.
Yeah. But I'm with you. Ceiling, I think, is national championship, but Illinois cannot win the national championship because they were not ranked in the top 12 of the Week 6 AP poll. So
this is true.
They're not going to win. They maybe can get there, make Final Four, but they were not ranked in the AP Week 6 poll, so they cannot win the national championship. I do have a national championship ticket on FanDuel for Illinois. I put in before the season. They were plus 8,000.
Wow.
They are now down to plus 3,300. So my plan is working. We get to March and I cash that baby out and make a little bit of money.
Attaboy. Attaboy.
I did the same thing for Louisville. That one's not looking as great. Their ACC ticket is still good though. Okay, coming up, we continue Big Ten play back at home. Where are you at?
Penn State.
Penn State and USC, I believe.
Yeah, Penn State
Penn
Tuesday,
State Wednesday.
No. Yeah.
Wednesday. 9 o'clock
Wednesday, Saturday.
on Big Ten Network. Wednesday, geez. And then Saturday afternoon at noon on Big Ten Network against USC. Couple teams you should at home you should beat.
Yeah.
Maryland had a battle, or Penn State had a battle with who'd they play right before us? Indiana today.
Yes.
They played Indiana at the Palestra. Indiana actually beat them by 6. But Penn State is playing well. They're 12-3, and what are they in the Big Ten? 2-2 in the Big Ten. They're pretty good. I mean, they're not this program has been decent the last couple of years. Obviously, they beat us last year.
They've been a thorn in Illinois' side, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely been a struggle.
What is Illinois' record against Penn State the last 2 years? The last 3, what is it? They were 0-3 against them two seasons ago.
2 seasons. The Matthew Meyer year, they went 0-3.
Last year, did they play them more than once?
Was it Matthew Meyer year?
Yeah, I think so.
Matthew Meyer year, because you went to one of the games.
I was at the one in Champaign, yeah. And they lost 2 in the tournament, so they were 0-3 that year. And then last year,
I'm struggling to find it. Oh, okay, I'm on the wrong one. 2023, they were 3-0 against us. 2024, they were 1-0. We only played once, so they've won the last 4. We beat them in 2022 at Illinois.
But you lost the other one.
I don't see that on here. I think that was another season we only played them once.
2022, 2023?
2021, 2022.
Oh, I was looking at 2022, 2023. Whatever. Either way, they've definitely had Illinois' number the last at least 2 years. So
yeah, maybe the last win might have been. No, we beat them twice in 2021. 2020 is the year that we went to their place and knocked them off on the East Coast trip that me and Piper went on. Rutgers and Penn State. Iowa beat them almost at the buzzer with a
yikes
runner. Someone said they saw on X that we haven't beaten Penn State in 1,039 days.
Yikes.
Not great, Bob.
Not great, Bob.
That's not a program you want to say that about.
No.
Hopefully this year's different. Like I said, Wednesday, Saturday, and then you're back on the road Tuesday the 14th at Indiana. I looked at going into that game. You want to meet up for that game? Tickets are not as expensive as they usually are at Indiana. You can get in for like $45. So I looked into it, but it's a weeknight, so might not be able to do it.
Yeah, probably not.
Okay. Anything else? Let's talk football real quick.
Yeah.
For about 10 minutes, maybe. 10-win season for Illinois football. I predicted like 6-6. I think a lot of people predicted like 6-6 and a bowl game, and we'd be happy with it.
Yeah. I think we both said.
How you feeling about Illinois football right now?
I think we both said 8 wins was the ceiling. Feeling great. That was a lot of fun. The game, the Cheez-It Bowl. I'm not exactly sure what all was going on the sidelines. And
what are you talking about?
What am I talking about? Are you playing
about.
dumb or you're just okay? Got it. I don't know what was going on there. But no, I mean, it's exciting. I mean, this is just hope and pray that they don't take a step back like we did a couple years ago. I mean, we had this same conversation. Was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago when they had a really nice season, and then you have all these expectations going into the following year. They lay an egg. I mean, you're going to bring a lot of guys back. You're going to bring your quarterback back.
That's the key. That's the key right there.
I mean, you're going to lose. Obviously, you're losing Pat Bryant. You're going to lose some other dudes too. But like so far, the retention's good. And and you got to work the portal. You got to bring in some other guys that are gonna be some factors. But yeah, I mean the trend is obviously positive right now for Illinois football. So it's definitely exciting. What does the schedule look like for next year? I don't want to start thinking about number of wins. But 1, 2,
hold
3.
on. I just had it. We play Ohio State. Do
At
not play
home.
Michigan. Do not play Penn State. Play Indiana.
You go to Indiana, who
Yeah.
was a playoff team.
Yeah.
All things considered.
Yeah.
And you go to Washington, which won't be easy. But I mean, the schedule is definitely favorable for Illinois for next year too. So, I mean, yeah, I think you definitely have to build off this. If you can't build off this, there's a problem.
Yeah.
You have to use this momentum, move forward, have as much retainment as you can. Work your magic through the portal, see what else you can bring in, other weapons for Luke, and go from there. But yeah, this was an exciting couple weeks for Illinois sports fans.
Yeah.
From
in a span of like 4 days, it was bowl game in Oregon.
Yeah. Tough couple days for Oregon. Good couple days for Illinois.
Yeah. The days following the bowl game, my Twitter feed, the For You of my Twitter feed was just full of South Carolina fans bitching about every single thing. I'm like, there was nothing illegal done. Like, if your coach doesn't know how to respond to what's happening, then he's not a very good coach. And then you saw the exact same thing happen in the Notre Dame Georgia game, where they subbed the entire kickoff team with like 10 seconds left on this play clock, and Georgia didn't know what to do. Like, if they're Brett Bielema, they're jogging out there and forcing Notre Dame to take a timeout.
Did you see Kirby Smart's comments on that?
He said that apparently the SEC officials told him that you can't do that.
Or they've essentially discouraged it in the SEC, according to what Kirby Smart said.
But he's saying 11 for 11,
right?
Which no one was doing that. So yeah, I don't know. It was a bunch of, it was gamesmanship and miscommunication, because that's not what Brett was talking about when he went out and did that. He was talking about a different play entirely, but that's neither here nor there. South Carolina hates Illinois now for no reason. But everyone in the chat's talking about, the good news for football continued because they got J.C. Davis back, thanks to the blanket waiver that anyone that went to JUCO got an extra year. So he has an extra year. I think people were saying he was probably a projected third-day pick, so he's going to come back. I'm assuming there's some good NIL money funds available for him to come back and make that decision. And then today, defensive back Xavier Scott announced he is coming back as well. That helps the defense. The only one they're waiting on now is Gabe Backus. If Gabe Backus comes back and you essentially have your whole team back minus Pat Bryant, like, I'm not saying it. People are saying on the Twitter sphere, whether it be the head coach or other people, that next year could be like an Indiana type season for Illinois, where they're 10-2, 11-1, and in that playoff conversation if everything goes right.
I think it's certainly possible. I think
that is insane.
It's crazy that we're there, but again, I was going to be happy with an 8-win season, and to come out there with 9 regular season wins, get a bowl win. Just incredible football season, and just got to build off of it, man. Just got to keep going.
Yep. 4 teams left. Who's your national champ?
Ohio State.
If that happens, is Ryan Day the coach next year?
Yes, Ryan Day is the coach next year, regardless.
I think he's.
I think they will be. I cannot at this point. I think enough time has passed from the Michigan debacle. I think we can move past it. They just throttled the number 1 team in the country, a team that previously beat them earlier in the season, who was unbeaten. Unless they go out and just look like absolute dog shit in this semifinal, like,
I think they'll handle Texas. It's the next game that they might have issues with.
I think he's safe regardless. Now, whether he wants to go somewhere else and do something different, that's up to him.
Yeah.
But I don't think Ohio State is getting rid of Ryan Day.
No.
I think they're the best team out there right now. I think Notre Dame is probably the second best team out there right now. That's
I've got a
another
Notre
team.
Dame national championship ticket that I'm holding too, so that's who I'm
Did
rooting for.
you jump on that after they lost to Northern Illinois?
I
or-
just jumped on it before the playoffs started.
Okay.
So not great odds, but they were like, of the 12 teams, they were like had the 7th or 8th best. So I thought they were the best value.
Okay. Would you change the playoff? And how? And if so, how? Does it need to be changed? Are we just
Yeah,
good with how
no,
it is?
I think the top 4 seeds thing needs to be changed. I think the conference champs should get a spot, but you should seed it based on ranking.
Yeah, I agree.
I've always been a proponent of just using the FCS model. You know, it's 24 teams, top 8 get a bye.
Well, we don't need to go
They're
that
all
far.
on the home.
I don't think that's happening anytime
Ultimately,
soon.
it's always worked at the FCS. They've always had great playoffs.
Well, here's the thing. I think the number of blowouts have really deterred from going. I'm with you. I would like to see something like that. I'm a proponent of everybody should have a chance at this thing. Now, this is the closest we've ever been. Now that a group of 5 team is guaranteed a spot in there. I don't think 24 is realistic. If anything, I was going to maybe say go to 14 and just give out 2 buys.
Mm-hmm.
You get 2 more games in there, 2 more teams make it, and you only really have 2 power conferences at this point. Because that's the thing. Not only did we go from 5 power conferences to 4, but the landscape changed entirely in the time frame from when they decided this is how it was going to be to now. Because not only did the Pac-12 disband, but Texas and Oklahoma left. So it went from even a season ago, or let's just take this year's, if it was everybody was in the same conference, but we finished with the same top 25, you would have had your buys would have been Georgia, Oregon, Texas, and not Notre Dame. Not important. Whatever. It would have been.
Clemson,
it wouldn't have been
ACC.
Clemson. Sure. It wouldn't have been ACC, or it would have whatever. Not important. It wouldn't have been Boise State and Arizona State. I don't know. That's what's changed. I think you either need to just. I don't think they're going to do like 2. I think they either go no buys. At one point, I was thinking give the same 4 teams the buys, but reseed. But I don't think that really helps anything.
I see what you're saying.
Like after the first round, you reseed like the NFL does.
I could see 2 different. I could see 2 different paths. I could see them, doing away with the top 4 seeds or the conference champs and just seeding it, based on rankings. I could also see them expanding to 16 and giving because the home games went over so well this year with the 4 that had them. Right. Obviously, the 4 that had the home games are now the final 4. They beat the conference champs in every single one. I could see them doing that because other schools saw how successful those were, and they're going to want another home game on their schedule probably. So I could see that happening. I think they go the route of just doing away with the conference champs, get the buys, and just seed it. They get their spot, but not the bye.
I was thinking about this kind of out of the box idea, and this won't ever happen. But I honestly wonder why it couldn't happen. Why don't you seed them 1 through 12, and then start at the top? Call up number 1 and say, "Do you want the bye or do you want the bye or do you want the home game?"
Play, yeah.
Do you what would you prefer? Call up Oregon, say, "Do you want to play? Do you want to have a home game in the first round, or do you want the first round off?" And after they give you their answer, then you call up number 2. Say, "Do you want the bye or do you want home game in the first round?" And
because
go that way.
The way that they did it now, Oregon drew the shortest stick of them all. Because they're the 1 seed and they had to play either Ohio State or Tennessee in the second round.
Penn State had the easiest.
Penn State had Boise State and SMU. The way it is, it doesn't make sense. It's not fair. So I think they just do away with the conference bids.
I agree.
Or the buys, and and go from there. So
I agree.
Okay, that is the Thursday and Friday next week are the semifinals there, championships on the 20th as well. So, okay, we've been on here for about an hour. We talked about a lot. Long story short, Illinois 2-0 on the West Coast. They beat Washington 81-77 today. Back in action on Wednesday night. Do you have anything else?
No, sir.
All right,
no, sir.
We're going to shut her down.
Got to go watch the Golden Globes, but I've seen about 5 movies, so I'm
so
really,
far behind.
Really behind this year.
Well, you go enjoy that. I don't know
Thank
what
you.
I'm going to do the rest of the night. Probably just watch TV. But
Take care of your child.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you hopefully Wednesday. We'll see what happens, but we'll see you later.